All right, guys. Welcome, everybody, to yet another KhyenChen session. Shreya, Kuldeep, Neetu, there's a VK. I'm guessing it's Vivek. Not sure. Meenakshi. Yes, thank you, Sanjay. Thank you for being our gracious host today. That was very nice of you on a Saturday, being a busy man like you are. You take classes, you have your own job and a website to run. That's a lot to handle, and 2 little kids. Thank you for agreeing to be our host. Meenakshi, that's
so Sanjay, we would like to know, how did you stumble upon this whole cooking process, and how it's interesting. I saw your website that you've been doing a lot of cooking lessons, and you've made our cuisine from India very popular amongst people around you, the locals. So take the stage and tell us how you stumbled upon this whole thing.
I came through a regular route. Like, I'm an engineer. I did my MBA and started working in Bombay. And I was born and brought up in Delhi. So as within 3 weeks, I started missing my food. My mother was an amazing cook. I think that's my cue to all of you. If you want your kids to cook, give them good food at home. When they miss that, they will start picking it up themselves. So I called up my mom, and she gave me 4-word recipe. I said, just give me some basic lentil that I want to cook. And it was, use the normal spices. That's a recipe. So I struggled to find out what it is, how to do that. And it didn't come out good. So I called up, and then the most amazing thing happened. I just called up, I said, it didn't come out good. And she knew exactly what I missed out without me telling her what did I add and what did I add. So that was probably the confirmation of the second Indian parenting lesson, that failure is a very premium, and let your kids fail as much as possible. And slowly then it started. And I had a lot of friends, like, I did my engineering from Roorkee and did my MBA from IIM Lucknow. So we had classmates who came from all the part of India. And most of us, incidentally, were in Bombay at that time. And I started picking up other regions' food. So that's how I really got interested in. And it's pretty amazing. Like, we cook, like, my mother was born on Pakistan side. They migrated and her family settled down in Lucknow. So she could do amazing things about Punjabi and Mughlai to a certain extent.
mute yourselves, please.
But nothing beyond that. I mean, it was just amazing when I realized that this is so much. So that really, when I came here 16 years back, it was a dilemma. I mean, like, coming from that engineering perspective, that you have to find a solution now. There is no way out, that you can't leave it like that. So I started looking over and going back, and I found that all of us follow Ayurveda very subconsciously, very, very subconsciously. Some of them do intentionally follow it. In the meantime, in between, what happened is, a couple of my jobs, I was interacting with these R&D people from Dabur. I think I was in Siemens, where we were setting up their automation line. And then one more time when I was in I was in one of the Tata companies, which were doing some multimedia kits and all. So he analyzed my body constitution, which is called dosha. And first time I ignored him. That's it. Another Ayurvedic practitioner. There are a lot of quacks out there. 4 years later, I came back to him, and then he sat down with him, because we were putting up the whole dosha questionnaire on the CD. So then he did that. And believe me, till now, a lot of things which, I mean, I am aware of who I am. And that has really helped to quite an extent, how everything happens. And what kind of lifestyle things that you do when I gain weight very fast. So that's been always a tussle. which lead to other things like my lower back and things like that. But he made me aware of it. Why are you going to gain weight fast?
Wow.
So as a preventive system, it's amazing. It's amazing. In the meantime, last 4-5 months in this COVID time, Tanya, my wife, actually went out and did a course on Ayurveda. And
beautiful.
In this whole process, she was as a part of the course, has I think analyzed 20 odd people and about their dosha, and it gives what it is. It's just pretty amazing that it tells you. The really interesting part with someone who are in biotech and also research is Ayurveda says there are 5 levels of any condition to become really serious. By the time it reaches the 4th level, then you need allopathy medicine and you need to cure to a molecular level. But the first 3 parts are also happening in our body, and they analyze, because of the observational science, they could analyze it through how our skin is, whether it's becoming too dry, whether we dehydrate a lot, whether our hair become brittle. So they could identify those 3 points. And it has to do, there are 3 body constitution. I'll just give a brief snapshot of it. It's a 3 body constitution, and they had to do with keeping your respiratory, digestion, and excretion in balance. That's the whole objective of our cooking. And another very interesting thing that Dabar person pointed out to me, that your body tells you exactly that this is where you're going wrong. You naturally
listen to your body.
Yeah, listen to your body. We don't listen that. That's a separate entity, which a lot of learning need to happen. Even I don't listen to my body to quite an extent. But that's a pretty amazing thing. So delve into that I will say. Analyze your body constitution and see what are little tweaks you will do, and you will find that there are a lot of things happen, which is pretty amazing. So so then I came here and I was doing my class, and my son had a lot of allergies, so I had to keep innovating and creating, and I delve in almost every cuisine in the world, more or less, to a certain extent, or anything. So I came out this snapshot on how to cook, and I'll share just one slide, what we basically try to do. Sure. And that is useful because there are a lot of other cuisines which got influence from India. And in these classes I've been doing for about 12 odd years, maybe more than 1,000 odd classes I've done with, thanks to New York City, I've done with about 67, 68 different nationalities. So I'm kind of becoming a food historian to a certain extent. So I see that our food, if you really say cuisine to be something which is a structured way of cooking, so India was probably the oldest cuisine. It came out 3,000 years back, originated from Ayurveda. So it influenced the whole of Southeast Asia, since the whole southern India was a kingdom which was occupying those whole regions. It influenced the whole Middle East, Horn of Africa. Ever had Ethiopian food, you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. You had that injera bread.
Yes.
And uttapam, exactly the same thing. And they also eat. Then I found, like I think 3-4 years back, that actually Japan and Korea follow exactly the same thing, because through Buddhism, the whole thing went there. But each region uses their own ingredients to do that. So that's possibly my story about cooking. I'll leave the rest of it, otherwise will not stop about that.
That is so intriguing and so interesting, how you actually connected your childhood to your upbringing, to your job, and your observation around these Oriental recipes and Oriental principles that people have been following for centuries, really, right? But bringing that to practice
I
in
would
daily
not say
life.
Oriental, because in US Oriental means China. I'll say Indian.
I was conscious when I used that word, because when you mentioned we transferred all that knowledge through Buddhism to everywhere else in the East.
We gave it to everyone almost. Literally.
I didn't want to be narrow-minded by saying Indian recipes.
I'm just joking.
Because it's, so, I know.
So two things you should know: that leave me for my humor. It's heredity. I can't stop it. And B, I don't know any Kashmiri, so don't say any Kashmiri word.
That's okay. You're not alone, and we want humor. These are times where we actually need some humor around. Thank you so much, Sanjay. It's really nice of you to. It was very educative, as it was intriguing, your whole background. So I mean, yeah, go ahead. And
so I'll just share one slide and I'll
sure,
explain the
sure.
things.
I just gave you the sharing
Okay.
access. Go ahead.
Okay.
Please.
I think we need another session with Sanjay.
Yeah, I'll
Only
come
on
back.
Ayurveda.
Yeah.
Only on Ayurveda.
Actually, in the class I do, I've been doing this class, as I said, but now there's a second step which I've been thinking for 6-7 years, but now I'm probably putting it together. I'm actually launching my recipe kits, which are all the dry ingredients packed together, and you create different dishes out of it and everything. We suggest what kind of dishes you should do depending on your Ayurvedic body constitution. So that will help you calm down so everyone has a tendency, that like I am something called a pitta, which is problematic with my lower intestine and my back. I get dehydrated very fast. I didn't have a lot of fire. I digest things very fast, but I get I'm always warm. So it's the certain recipes which you lower down all the heat that comes out. So these kind of things that you do. I can't take salt pretty much. I'm just it's problematic. So don't think that soft and salt has to be added to anything. It depends on your body constitution and the climate you are in. If you are in a very cold climate, it's amazing. Right. But I can't take that kind of thing. So yeah, I'll share the details when I'm on to that kind of thing, that kind of recipe kit stuff. But let me just share this this little. This is very interesting part. This is the crux of the whole cooking part of Ayurveda. So Ayurveda, like you have yoga, you have meditation, you have massaging, and the whole cooking part is also a part of Ayurveda. So what we do, as I said, we are all towards balancing your respiratory, digestion, and excretion system. And for that, you have to balance the 6 tastes always. All the time you're looking for balancing these tastes in every dish, every day, every meal. And if you balance them out, your 3 body constitution is in balance. But now based on your body constitution, you have a tendency, because they link these body constitution to these tastes. So I'll explain what these tastes are. That for each one, certain tastes are good and certain not that good. But not that good doesn't mean you should prevent them, because we don't have a concept of prevention. We have a concept of moderation, which is even higher thought to a certain extent. So you should moderate those kind of things. But if you keep them in balance, it's pretty good. Now, every recipe actually is 60-70% fixed and 30-40% left on your improvisation. And big improvisation is the main ingredient. You change the main ingredient, you create a different recipe. Like you use the rice and lentil batter, you create a uttapam, but you add like a teff grain batter, it becomes injera bread. So it's all things which are there. Sweetness is anything which has carbs is sweet. Like it's not just sugar, but your dairy, your nuts, your oils, all cascade. This give you the energy. Then salt, any kind of different kind of salt will control your blood pressure. Sourness, which is actually missing in our American diet as such. We are all very sourness bound people. Sourness kickstart the salivation process. If you salivate well, you chew well and you digest well. Bitterness, a lot of spices are bitter. This is opposite of sweet. So this control our blood sugar. Like traditionally, like a Karela or methi that Indians been using for controlling. I think if I'm right, there's a biotech company in Pune which has got a FDA approval to do something on methi. If I'm right, I'm just not sure about that. Pungency is your spiciness, which is your chili, habaneros, jalapenos. This is a very big thing for your respiratory area. So anytime you have a respiration issue, eat any spicy stuff and all. But the astringency is like turmeric is both bitter and astringent. Astringency is control your muscle. So it's so anti-inflammatory that any problem that you have with any kind of muscle, ingest turmeric to pretty much. So these are the 6 tastes which every dish you balance. Now, when I cook, let's say, and I found that I've cooked like whole South America to Mediterranean, certain parts of Africa, Middle East, and China and Russia, Korea, Southeast Asia, Japan. Each of the region uses, within India also, each of the region uses different ingredient to balance the 6 tastes. So you have to give on, you have to honor the diversity. If you're cooking a dish from Konkan, use Konkani spices. Don't add sof and salt there. Like for sourness, there is tamarind, and they have something called kokum. Have you heard of kokum?
Yes. Yeah.
What is that?
I'll just show you. It's actually it's a fruit. I'll just show you later. I have a.
It's used in Maharashtra, and especially in Konkan area.
Yes.
They use it
Yes.
a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
You go down on the western coastal area, Maharashtra, you have western coastal area specifically. It's all kokum. Pretty
Kokum.
much.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's very sour. Their favorite thing to start off eating is something called soul curry. It's a drink made of coconut milk with like a South Indian tadka kind of thing on top of it. Helps you to digest. It just kicks starting your salivation and digestive process. So they are very and South India, you know, it's all tamarind based. We are not using kokum, but we use tamarind today. Yep. Anything. So I said, like any dish you take, divide. You take a Japanese dish, divide them into these ingredients, and try to balance them out. Forget about the recipe. You will create something amazing stuff out of it. So anything which has 6 to 7 different ingredients, this is your equation. Like from a true engineer, this is the equation that you should follow. Okay, so
Awesome.
I'll switch over.
Very informative. Thank you, Sanjay.
Yeah, no problem. I don't know how to come out of it.
Yeah, you can just stop the screen share, I guess. And
oh, here.
Yep.
Okay, so let me just get it started. I'll change my camera, just a minute. Okay. So this is the kokum that I was talking about. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh.
Yeah, they make a drink also out of this. It's called
yes
sharbat or something.
Soul curry. It's called soul curry.
Okay.
They start with that only when they start. They're eating something. They always have that to start with.
Huh. Is there another word for it, Meenakshi?
Stores they call it kokum.
They call it kokum.
Kokum. Okay.
Yeah.
Strange.
So,
I've never heard it.
That's an amazing part, you know, that every region took these 6 tastes and they use their local herbs and spices to make that balance. So that's an art part of it, which over 2000 years got perfected. So that's where, like, we can't cook the other region, because like my mom used to just add something Punjabi to it. She will add amchur to that or some stuff like that. So it just spoils the whole thing. So that's what you're gonna do. So it's pretty simple recipe. Take any fish, which is, so I've taken tilapia. So take any fish which is a little medium to, how many of you have actually lived in Bombay or anybody?
I've lived in Pune and I had 2 Maharashtrian roommates. So
Bombay, there's this amazing restaurant called Mahesh Lunch Home. I don't know if you have been there. It's the Konkan food for you, like amazing food. Any case, so I mean, every person knows about that place. So make cut it to the serving size, whatever you want, and we will just take any kind of oil. So, by the way, do you guys cook with mustard oil?
Occasionally.
Occasionally, you know why all the fish dishes in the world use something bitter or citrus or like sour? You know why they're used in marination? Any ideas? They always add, like Greeks are always adding lemon. South India is always adding tamarind. Then there's tamarind in Southeast Asia also. It's because and you like I think any Kashmiri use like a bitter, like mustard oil or something. Like Calcutta or Bengalis use mustard oil.
Right.
The bitterness and sourness takes away the smell of any like seafood, because seafood has to be very fresh. So that's another very interesting tidbit. So that's the reason you use. But I try to use more like a neutral oils. So because I want everything to take up the taste of whatever we are adding, like herb and spices. So just a little bit of oil I've taken. I've just taken sunflower oil. And we have to make a paste of, because when you marinate, it's better to make a paste of anything like ginger or garlic. So we have to use garlic, ginger in this case. Have you seen this ginger grater? Any idea?
Yeah, somewhere. Oh, yeah,
Somewhere.
that's a prettier one though, prettier version of what I've seen.
No, this is the Japanese ginger grater. They make the wasabi, horseradish.
Oh,
So
really?
normally, when you grate out ginger, you lose out all the liquid on any grater. But in this, the liquid stays here.
Liquid stays. Okay.
And it's pretty sharp. It's like, this is about, I think 11, 12 years old. Just rub it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's safe to use. It won't scrape your fingers.
Oh, no. I'm doing it in front of you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Beautiful.
So this is pretty amazing tool. We have actually optimized our tool base also, because we were just picking up all kind of nonsensical things. The cookware and the tools.
They're becoming very innovative in making such tools now.
I mean, I think my template is if you have to buy any cookware, whoever uses the maximum, they probably have the best one. So your wok has to be Korean or Chinese. The pressure cooker has to be Indian. Crepe pan has to be French.
True.
A rice cooker has to be Japanese. And if you have to find any mechanical tool, it has to come from Germany and Switzerland, because they make the best technology, the best mechanical designers. And plus, I work with one of the Siemens companies, so I have to be honorable to them. So any dish, as I said, there are all these 6 tastes. Any dish, part of sweetness, part of saltiness, part of spiciness is up to you. Okay. Rest of them, whatever the recipe will have, that's you have to keep equal proportion. But those parts is exactly up to you, how much you want to go ahead. So like I'm just taking the Kashmiri chilies and about half a teaspoon. I have 2 fillets of this. This is 1 fillet and I have 2 fillets. So that much quantity I'll take. Then about 3/4 salt. I'll add this. I'll add some part of salt later on. I'll just show you where. About half a teaspoon, I just added salt. Half a teaspoon of haldi or turmeric. Then about half a teaspoon of coriander, dhania. And half a teaspoon of garam masala. Take any kind of garam masala. It's not so specific. It's very less. I don't know if you know that every, like Gujarati garam masala, the Maharashtrian garam masala, they're all different. They're all very, very different from each other. Add to that, the more confusion is added with the American garam masala, which is very sweeter. It has a lot of.
Oh, there is an American garam masala also?
Oh, yes. Pick up from McCormick or something. It's high on cinnamon.
Oh, okay.
Very high on cinnamon. So the Gujarati garam masala, or traditionally, like since all the Indian grocery stores are owned by Gujaratis, that whole business. So their whole house blend is a Gujarati garam masala, which is heavy on dhania and jeera. Like they in fact they always add something called dhano jeera, like dhania and jeera combined. And about a teaspoon of tamarind.
Tamarind.
This is just the tamarind paste. I think that you can use pretty much. It's the most labor-saving idea. So that's it. That's a marination. But this is a more amazing part. This is idli rava. You can use the suji also. Idli rava is the same thing done to the rice. So this is more crispier, and if you are going for gluten free, this is the way to go.
Right.
In Konkan, they use idli rava more than the like a
Suji,
normal suji.
typical suji. Yeah.
So in this, what I'm going to do is I'll add a little bit of chilies, just a little bit of chilies, and my 1/4 salt, which I added less in my total was 3/4, so 1/4 I'll add in this. 1/2 teaspoon I added in my marination, and 1/4 I'll add. Just mix it well. Dip your marination. You don't have to keep it long. Fish is very soft normally, so it gets cooked very fast.
So how long do you marinate it for?
I don't keep it. I'm just going to do it right now.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I don't know if you realize the engineers are very lazy people. So. But the laziness is a boon, because we can't remember 100 pages, so we have to put in a 3 bullet point, and that's how I did my that one slide of what things I have to balance. So that's my equation, which I'm using for everything.
Well, brevity is the soul of wit. So you don't have to have pages.
I coated with all.
Is there a reason you made only 2 pieces today?
Because Tanya and all the kids are not here. So I'll keep the marination for them.
Yeah. So I noticed you used Kashmiri chili. That's a good thing. And no other Kashmiri spice in this. Tamarind was interesting. Coriander we normally do put in marination.
Actually, the chili is also very interesting. You know, so Portuguese were the best colonizer in terms of the food ideas, which they spread everywhere.
Yes.
So they brought in the chilies, habanero chilies, potatoes, squashes, tomatoes everywhere in the world in last 400 years. Wow. So if you see any of these things being added to any particular cuisine, they just added in last 400 years. There was no pizza with the tomato sauce. Probably there was no vodka before that.
Wow.
But different regions in India had different chilies. So the one which came to Kashmir, it came through the Silk Route, which was more like a paprika, which got a little more intensity when Indians start growing that in that area. The main thing was for India was a black pepper. So that's why Kerala's demography is very different. It's pretty amazing place. It's like I think Judaism came here 100 years back. Their sect of Christianity is older than any sect in the world in Europe. Their Islam also pretty old. So they all came for black pepper trade. So that was that area. And then the areas which were trading with Southeast Asia and China particularly, they had Szechuan pepper. So in Konkan areas, the coastal areas in Konkan area, and not in Konkan to that much, but go down south of Goa and down south, they use Szechuan pepper, or on the other coastal side, they use Szechuan pepper to quite an extent.
Oh, yeah, I mean, how we have adopted and then grown in our own lands, all that came from.
And the heat.
It's all this medieval period, right?
Yeah.
Very
and the heat added the spiciness, more spiciness. So that's why the Andhra chili is pretty interesting. But chilies are like Andhrites and I think the Maharashtra, the Vidarbha region, which is inside, and Rajasthan, they eat a lot of chilies, or they end their meal with a chili paste with rice or something like that, because it's a very dry heat out there. So if you don't sweat, chilies make them sweat. If they don't sweat, you get a sunstroke. So it's all linked. It's all pretty linked.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Rajasthan mein.
Yep.
I don't think they eat spicy food at all. That's Rajasthani, like.
Oh yeah. They had something called lal mas, which is basically pure chilies in a meat dish. So more you go on the desert side, it's more of that.
Spicier it is, hotter it is.
So we're just going to shallow fry in little oil. That's what we want to do.
We got a hands-on lesson on history, Ayurveda, Silk Road trading, or I mean, this is like a holistic, complete package.
No, I don't like to just do the recipe. That's not me.
Of course. I mean, many of our chefs in the past have done us a favor by educating us too, but this was marvelous. This was really, really, really marvelous.
Yep.
So this was shallow, right? Shallow frying is
it's very light. I mean, you can use more oil if you like. Some of those Konkani places use more oil, but you just use very little oil if you like. I mean that's fine with it. We'll just create. So normally, sometimes because it's a drier kind of output, so they actually make a little bit of curry on the side, which has kokum and all this, like more like a South Indian spicing with kokum in it. So it's very sour, spicy little curry on the side. Just get down to, I think, just go to Mahesh Lunch Home and click on it and see those photographs. It's something like that. Okay. And incidentally, the best seafood comes from this Western Coastal Belt. It's. I know you guys swear by the Kashmiri fish. That's the time I took the challenge, because my wife's I think uncle was very clear about the Kashmiri fish, and I said, okay, I will take you to Mahesh Lunch Home. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. Even there are a lot of these Mangalorean and Keralite dishes, which are even more amazing actually. This was a simple one, that's why I'm doing. But
yeah, absolutely, all coastal varieties. I mean, you go in the Goa region or Mangalore region, you find really. We haven't eaten anything until a certain point of time. We had not eaten anything other than Kashmiri fish, so exposure was limited.
Yeah.
Any questions you have, you can ask anything about Ayurveda or whatever.
We can ask you questions. We can ask you questions on Ayurveda. So like you said, I'm guilty of doing that. Even if I'm cooking Punjabi food, I keep putting in sauf and sont.
Oh yeah.
So I think I'm going to hold back now.
No, just give a like a, just honor the diversity and just go and pick up those food, because those guys have worked on 2000 years to balance that thing. And if the balance goes off, it just doesn't like, from Ayurvedic perspective or very subconsciously what we do, the food for us is not hunger or emotion. It's more of nutrition and therapeutic. And when you don't get the balance, that's where you're crossing that limit to the other side. And most of the Indian restaurants are like, do the same problem. They have the same problem. When they don't get the balance, they start throwing in cream. That's why the restaurant food is so heavy to quite an extent.
Makes sense now that I'm thinking about all of that. Yeah.
Sorry.
So this suji kind of gave it a crusted texture, the fish.
Yeah. That's why I said the rice rava has more like a crunchier texture than the suji. So
what did you just Just do. What did you just do? The pan.
Oh, I just flipped them over. Problem is,
Oh, I thought you removed them. Sorry.
No, I didn't remove them.
Oh, God.
I just flipped them over, and it's all like the oil is coming down on the side. So I just wanted to take them to the side. I was just rotating the oil. That's another amazing thing that I've noticed, that you stir normally. So in my class, people ask, should I keep stirring? I say, go back. The stirring is just for making sure it doesn't burn, and it should done evenly. Everything else is a show, like tossing and everything is just a show. Nothing happens to your dish. So don't do that. Use the engineer's attitude of doing the minimum to create a dish.
True.
So with so you did tilapia. What other fish can you do this dish with?
I mean, cod is there. So these guys actually do it with more like a seed, the saltwater fish. But go ahead and do with any fish which is little firm and medium, medium firm and firm. Any fish.
You can go with salmon if you like, or no?
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Okay.
It's not a problem. I mean, in my classes, there have been times where some of the dish, I just go say, what is, that's why I said one of the, oh, I think it's done.
Okay.
So one of the like improvisation which is there is the main ingredient. So go ahead and do that. I mean, there's some of the dishes I just asked my participant, what is there in your fridge? Let's just create out of that.
Right.
And it's just amazing thing comes out of it, which I didn't know. I mean, like Brussels sprout, somebody had I think the last month somebody had a Brussels sprout in there, and I was doing this Mughlai kind of dish. I said, okay, it doesn't matter.
Wow.
So you just create whatever you can.
Wow.
We are anyway cheap people. Like whatever's available cheap that day, we buy that and make a dish out of it. So go ahead. So tilapia was cheaper today. So that's why you have that. And that's it.
So what do you eat this dish with? I mean, with rice?
They normally pour with a little rice on top.
Okay.
Let me just take out one of the pieces. So I have little rice. Let me bring the rice here.
So how often do you do these classes, these lessons that you do? Do you do this on weekends or?
It's coming down on the weekdays now. I'm kind of full time now into these kind of things.
Okay.
Because I have to do my recipe kits, but earlier it was dominantly on the weekend.
Okay.
So this is my plate today.
Looks awesome.
A little bit of salad and a fish, which is nicely done. I'll give you a magic. I don't know. Have you heard of sumac?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sumac.
It's
Sumac.
a Mediterranean, Middle Eastern spice.
Iranian, Persian.
Iranian, yeah.
You guys anyway look Persian, so use their spices. Some of them. They add it on top of everything. So this salad is just like lemon, little bit of lemon, salt, black pepper, and sumac. Sumac is a reddish kind of. It's a berry actually. So they just use it ground.
A powdered spice.
Yeah, there's a powdered sumac.
Used it, but
so this is the sumac.
Yes.
Oh, sumac. Okay, I just googled.
Yeah, SUMAK.
Right.
MAC. SUMAC.
MAC actually, huh?
Yeah, it's a little like a sour, lemony, little very tinge of little spicy there in the and the backdrop, very subtly. So it's a pretty amazing thing for the salads and actually on the meat it comes out. They add it on the kebabs and all.
Right.
There's another plant. I remember that. I can't get its name. It looks like it's like a velvety plant, red in color, and they use it a lot in Kashmiri food for coloring.
They have another berry.
It's a very curly plant with a
I know what you're talking
velvety flower. I can't get its name right on top of my head.
They use another thing called Burberry. It's another berry that's there. Plus, and they use a lot of these dried limes rather.
Oh.
So
it's
any
called
dish,
mawal in Kashmiri.
Mawal,
Right,
yes,
right.
yes, yes, yes.
I'll find that out.
Mawal, it's used in Wazwan a lot.
Right.
So yeah. So there might be a little base to that, because I have not seen people using things for coloring as such in a very traditional Indian kind of cuisine. There has to be some benefit of that.
True, true. That's true.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is, I could devour this plate 5 times a day.
My kids can do that. You can teach your kids too. So it's very simple. It's nothing in there. So
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much.
It's a simple dish to make. And you could do that for so many other things than fish.
Yeah. So
That your
just change
vegetables.
the main ingredient, and you're creating more and more dishes.
Right.
So
More
that's the whole concept.
flavors of it. Yes, yes. Absolutely. Anybody else has any questions for Sanjay? He's now trapped in the KhyenChen chat, so we won't leave him. Anytime we have questions, we'll be pouring it
And
on.
yeah, we need to have him booked for another session soon.
Yeah.
So Sanjay, we need to take a few pictures and then you need to put them on the group later.
Okay.
Before you start using this plate. So because we usually do that, the chef usually will just share whatever they make and then on the group, so that people who didn't join, they at least can
I see.
their eyes on this dish.
Okay. So you want me to take the photograph of this, right?
Yes, please, along with you, if
Yep.
possible.
With me?
I mean,
Oh, I'm alone at home, so.
Selfie.
selfie,
Selfie with a plate.
Selfie with the plate would be nice. We'll put it in our documentation too. Of course,
Yeah,
the
let me
recording
just
will
bring
be
that
there.
camera down. So let me see.
At your own
I
ease.
took
I mean, you
some
don't have to
pictures
do
of
it
the Zoom
right
call.
away. Yeah. You don't have to do it right away. We can finish the show and then you can take a selfie at your ease.
Okay.
Does anyone
He
else
might be
have
too
any
tempted to eat his own creation.
I know. This does look, I'm curious, ye tamarind kaisa jayega? I don't think I've ever used tamarind for a marinade.
As soon as you cross the Vindhya mountain, it's all tamarind. There's nothing else.
Yes.
Sanjay, quick question for you.
Yeah.
How long do you cook this? Because there's semolina on it and that gets burned.
So problem with I was using induction stove, which goes very, very high.
Yeah.
So it gets even better than this actually. So I mean, just cook on a normal heat, cook it on a very medium low kind of thing, and just make sure that it becomes flaky. That's it. So the time that you cook depends on kind of fish.
So for a fish like this, which is very, what should I say? It's delicate fish, tilapia.
Yeah.
So how long do you think we should cook this?
Okay, I will just answer. I never answer question directly. My mother was a teacher, and every evening she has to check the notebooks of a student. So, and she will start some dish which has some tomatoes, like a very Punjabi kind of thing. Me and my sister's role was to make sure the water doesn't dry up, and the dish will take as much time as she takes to take all the notebooks. So I don't follow any time and temperature. It's your senses. Use your senses.
It comes with experience too. You burn it the first time.
Just keep it on medium low if you're not sure about it, and then just make a cut in the thicker part of it and see it's cooked from inside. It's white from inside. It's very flaky.
Okay.
It has you don't ask the Indians time and temperature. That's why we are such a bad bakers. We can't bake anything. I don't know how about you guys. I can't bake anything pretty much. So
yeah.
Time and temperatures are not.
That's so true of us. Anybody asking me for a Kashmiri recipe, I mean, how much even my kids asking me how many teaspoons of or measure of the spices that goes in, I have no clue what to tell them because it's always a approximation.
Yeah,
true.
So that's why I gave you that 6 tastes that you need to balance. So divide all the ingredients in those tastes and balance them. That's the way to go, and tend to use more of their senses to cook. So first you remove all the like names of every spice bottle that it has, because when they start smelling them, they will kickstart their effort to start recognizing them with smell and touch, rather than by their names. So that's the one way to actually start it. Like pretty much my mother could see, like just by smelling, could identify what our neighbors were cooking. And she could tell, oh, she's going wrong this way, she has to do this, this, this. So that was an ability that everybody reaches that level.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I mean, this is one of the most educative and interesting. And of course, yummy session to hai hai. But thank you so much, Sanjay, for taking out the time to be here with us today. And aapne chaar chand laga diye program pe. Really, you've set the bar very high. And KhyenChen is very thankful to you. And we will be sharing the recording soon, and it'll be put on KOA YouTube channel. Please feel free to share out with your friends as well.
Thank you for having me over.
Thank you so
very
much.
much. Thank you everyone for joining as well. Have a beautiful rest of the weekend and see you all very soon. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you.
Major thanks to Tanya.
Tanya.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.